noticed a huge increase in people using the bike trails and the bike paths in Minneapolis to the point where they're like congested and almost a little scary to ride in COVID times.
So maybe we may be on a path to having more cyclists than the Netherlands?
Oh my God, are you serious?
I don't know, that's a big assumption, but you would agree it's definitely been a huge uptick in just popularity of cycling and people just wanting to be out enjoying the outdoors.
Absolutely. I fell in love with riding a bike when I was living in the Sticht in the Netherlands. But the big difference between the Netherlands and the States is that we don't have the infrastructure for bikes. So I've noticed way more bikers on the street, but there's not necessarily the bike lanes that we need, the measures to keep us safe, the public spaces that make biking actually as enjoyable as it is in other countries.
Venice is the largest pedestrian-friendly city in Europe, thanks to its particular historic center. Tourism is the engine of the city's economy, and it is currently experiencing a negative period with a decline of over 50% in visitors. Tourists no longer cross the city along all the narrow streets, called calle, to avoid contact with many people. Now tourists have specific destinations and reach them with public service boats. They aim to stay longer in San Marcos Square and the main attractions.
This is an arterial road that once it meets back up with its northernmost or its northbound section on the other side becomes a 4 to 6 lane kind of avenue or traffic sewer that is uncomfortable to walk down. It's loud, the speeds are very high. It was never something an arterial that someone would take a bike on comfortably previously. And almost overnight, to make sure these healthcare workers and essential workers can get to work, the city took a lane of traffic, put up bollards, curbs, a very simple installation that created a safe transportation route for essential workers, for students, for everybody, for people delivering their Uber meals as they're working late.
The impacts that COVID-19 already had in Bogota could be seen in 3 different lines. The first one is an increase in the use of private vehicles due to the fear of the users to contagion. The second one is the increase of the use of bicycle. And the third line is a reduce of the public transportation users.
There have been numerous temporary measures put in place across London during the pandemic, all using pop-up infrastructure such as the Mayor's Street Space program, which is a project and program that ensured that social distancing continued once lockdown restrictions were lifted, and included things such as widening the pavements, designating and creating new protected cycle lanes, and implementing school streets, which are streets which are closed to traffic during drop-off and pickup times to avoid potential conflicts between cars and children walking to school. Also, low-traffic neighborhoods. This is where some residential streets have been closed through motor traffic, so this really does pick up on attitudes in the UK towards a more human-friendly approach to streets, and they've proven quite popular in recent polls that have been undertaken.
As you know, this is a very auto-oriented suburban environment, and COVID has had definitely some really positive impacts when it gets to our traffic congestion, gets to how people are using bike lanes, to the overall awareness about climate change in normal people, not just planners and environmentalists. There have been definitely a lot more use of existing bike lanes. A lot of people are looking to build new bike lanes, and there are citizen movements wanting more bike infrastructure.
This pilot project in Kampala took just the road space that was available and did space reallocation. And what's so special about it is that there's cycling lanes provided for. There's a purely car-free zone, something unheard of by design, by the way. And during COVID-19 lockdown, that's when the beauty of this place came out. It was completed by that time, and it was put to use because cars were not permitted to move except those who were taking the essential workers. People found themselves riding bicycles and walking, and that place just demystified the whole purpose of integrated land use and transport planning. People could see that, yeah, this is what should be like when we have planned for cycling and walking in a special place like that heart of the city of Kampala.
Here in Gothenburg and Sweden, we didn't have any sort of hard lockdown. However, we saw a decrease in car traffic of about 15% during the spring and of about 40% in public transport, which also resulted in a loss of about 10 million euros in income in ticket sales alone. However, during the spring and summer months, we've seen an increase in cycling of about 5%. However, it's unsure if that will carry over into the kind of cold and wet autumn and winter.